for me, feeling bubbly is a place I want to live. I don't want to feel low. And the more I feel low, the more I'm going to think low. The more I'm going to decide low, the more I'm going to decide scared. I'm going to let fear run the story. And the more bubbly and effervescent I am, the more I'm going to like be dreaming, and the more I'm going to be looking for the thing. And so is gratitude enough? It depends on what you're doing with it.
I'm Kandas Rodarte, and you are listening to Gratitude Geek. We are all about building genuine, lasting connections with clients, colleagues, and community. Today, we are chatting with spiritual joy guide Kim Beam about creating delight and abundance in your business. Welcome, Kim.
Hi.
What would you like the audience to know about you?
Oh, well, I'm an intuitive and I'm a healer, which basically means I know stuff that I shouldn't know. And I can, like, I don't know, you have knee pain, I can take away your knee pain.
How can you be so happy if you know stuff?
Well, because I know this isn't where the story ends. This isn't the end of the story. There's a line that was like basically like, did it work out okay? And then it's not over yet. Right? If it didn't work out okay, it's not over yet. And so it's just
What is that line from?
Oh, what is that from? If it's not the end. It's not the end yet. It's not. Is it okay? It's not the end yet. I don't know what I've heard it recently. I heard it from a guy, like a TikTok guy, but then it comes from a movie, and I think it might be like Lord of the Rings, but I don't think it's Lord of the Rings. It's something like that.
Something epic. You know, I am the kind of person who likes to research. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
Yeah, basically.
John Lennon.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. John Lennon. However, the origin of that is disputed.
Isn't that always the way?
But you know what? I kind of like that they gave it to John Lennon.
Yeah.
You know, he had a tragic ending.
He really did.
However,
it's not the end.
According to him, it's not the end.
No. In fact, I'm somebody who can see people from the other side. I can't see them, but I can, like, they chat me up and I can hear from them. And so I'm sure he's on the other side. I've never heard from him. He's never walked in and been like, hey, I've got some wisdom for you. But, like, yeah, he's not done. He's still over there.
I'm really curious how you turn this into a business.
People want to know shit. People want to know shit. People want to know. People want their big burning answers questioned. Their big burning questions answered, right?
People want their big answers questioned too.
Exactly. They want to know like, why did this happen, or where am I supposed to go, or if I go left or if I don't go right, like what happens if I choose to stay on the path I'm on? Like, do I take on this partner? Do I not take on this partner? Do I hire this person? Do I not hire this person? To which I say every time, listen to your gut.
You know, I don't know why this is not a pop culture podcast. And I don't know why this pop culture theme it's John Lennon. Now Doctor Who is in my head. There is an episode of Doctor Who where Donna Noble is at a stop sign and she needs to turn right or left and she can't make a decision because if she turns one way, it's going to go back to the doctor. And if she goes the other way, her life will never, either way, her life will never be the same again.
Yeah.
Like one choice is going to take her down the path that she's supposed to go down. And just the
weight.
But the way it was, I mean, I haven't seen this episode in 10 years probably, but it's this visceral thing that I feel because they filmed it so well that you could feel the uncertainty and the emotion and the heaviness of it all. And I think that's what you're getting at.
Yep. And we want to do it right. Like, we don't really, because the answers really do matter, right? Like, you have the potential to fuck up your life if you marry the wrong person. And you have the potential to fuck up your business. Am I allowed to say F? Am I allowed to swear?
Maybe once. So no more.
No more. Okay. You do have the potential, like, we feel the weight of messing it up, right? We could mess it up our life if we don't marry the right person. We could mess up, like, the business if we invest in the wrong thing, or if we, like, buy too much of that thing, or if we, like, right? If we go into a storefront and it's not time to be in a storefront, or if we like choose a marketing person or don't choose a marketing person, right? Like these things are weighty and they're heavy, and sometimes it can make or break what you do.
Yeah, but sometimes those choices, because I think about a time in my life where I had two avenues. I was in my 20s, and I had these two avenues, and one of them would have taken me to Canada, and the other one took me to Texas. And I chose the path that took me to Texas. Well, I didn't really choose it. The circumstances led to Texas.
Exactly.
And if I hadn't gone to Texas, which I hated, I wouldn't have met my husband. I wouldn't have had my daughter.
Right.
Right? And I wouldn't change anything in the world.
No.
You know, because I love being that woman's mother.
Exactly.
I love being her mother.
Yeah.
So even though Texas was a bad experience, my daughter was the end result.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, if it's not okay, it's not the end.
Exactly. If it's not okay, it's not the end. And the other thing is, Eckhart Tolle says, how do you know this is the existence you're supposed to be having? It's the one you're having. How do you know this is not existence, but experience? But it's the same thing, basically, right?
Yeah.
How do you know this is the experience you're supposed to be having? It's the one that you're having.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, are you really going to you go left, you're going to have learning experiences, and you go right, you're going to have learning experiences. They may be the exact same learning experiences. They'll just be packaged in other clothing.
So let me get back to the question I asked you at the beginning.
Yeah.
How did you turn this into a business?
So people, like I said, people want to know. And so I put it out there on Reels. People come to me on my podcast and I give them intuitive readings. I go to people's homes and they like those parties, those parties that people have. I'm one of those I show up with my cute little cards and I'm like, hey, fill this out. And they fill it out. And I then take the cards. And if there's not enough people in the room, if the room is small, I'll read everybody in the room. But if the room is big, I will take the cards and I'll give them I'll take their question and answer their question on my podcast. But everybody in the room gets an opportunity to get some healing, and they get some healing energy. And some people specifically may ask for some healing touch. And if they want it, and I'm allowed to, I'll place my hand on their knee or their ankle or their back and see if spirit shows up. And people are hungry. People are hungry for this kind of it's alternative. It's not medication. It's not surgery. And I've seen people's backs healed, and I've seen people's knees healed, and I've seen people's ankles healed. And I've also seen it not work at all. Right? I can't tell you when.
But you could say the same thing about medicine and surgery.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and people are hungry for something different.
So your business model is you go to people's homes and you have in-home parties.
And I have an in-home party. And I'm willing to fly. I'm willing to go wherever to do these because these are it's so fascinating, the people that show up in the room for me. But then eventually when I get to be big enough, I'm just going to go to a city and I'm going to be at the Ritz-Carlton in a city and people will come in and I will host them at the Ritz-Carlton and I will do this there. Same thing, nothing different. Healing in the room. I'll give you readings. The only thing is I might not be able to get to your question. Everybody has an opportunity to ask a question. I don't know that I'm going to get to everybody's questions on the podcast when I finally get this big. But what I will do is I will find common themes of questions and I will answer those on the podcast.
So what is your growth, and without really releasing or revealing too many of your secrets, because we don't want people to steal your ideas, but what is your path to growth? What does that look like? What conscious steps are you taking to get there?
Okay, well, some of the conscious steps, one of them is a very counterintuitive idea. One of them is super counterintuitive. And that is, I have a book, right? This is my book. It's called Walking Courage, Trusting the Whispers of Your Intuition. And inside the book is a QR code. And I have recorded a whole bunch of meditations. So you can get those meditations for free. They're written out in the book, but you can listen to it. It makes it a lot easier because reading it and doing a meditation is almost impossible. My brain can't do it. I really love it when somebody gives it to me audio. So there's an audio of it. It's in the front of my book. And then instead of selling my book, you can get it on Amazon. But I give it away.
Oh.
Right now I'm giving it away. It's like my business card. It's like a $2 business card.
Can I tell you that as a podcast host, who interviews a lot. This is me giving you some business advice. I'm a business coach, podcast host, right?
Yeah.
As a business coach / podcast host, I think that if you have a book on audio, that you should send the book on audio to the host before the episode, because then the host has the opportunity to listen to it.
No,
Most of us don't have time to read.
I agree. I don't have the book on audio yet. I have the meditations on audio.
So for your next interview, I would send the meditations ahead of time to the host.
I could do that.
Yeah,
I'll be happy
because then the host can talk. Because we can talk all day long about your meditations, but I've never listened to them, so I don't really have an informed opinion, right?
Right.
I can't endorse your book because I haven't read it.
Exactly.
All we can do is talk about finding joy and abundance as a business owner. Right? Okay, so talk to me. So I am living with metastatic breast cancer, and I understand that you are a leukemia survivor. So talk to me. Hodgkin's lymphoma. Okay,
Yes.
different story.
Completely
so talk to
different
me
story.
about that experience and now running your business post-cancer.
Yes. So pre-cancer, I was an English teacher.
Oh,
And post-cancer, because cancer happened, I was like, this teaching thing has got to go. It's got to go. So I was actually in my house on the phone with my best friend, and I stuck my finger in my collarbone for no reason whatsoever, except at that point, all of the actresses on all of the magazine covers were doing this, so you could see their collarbones.
oh, Jesus.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I wonder what they feel like. And I did this, and I was like, oh. And I said out loud to my friend, I think I just found a lump. And she worked at cancer camps when she was growing up. The kids with cancer came to these camps. And she's like, you're going to the doctor tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so I went to the doctor the very next day. It happened to be April Fool's Day when I found it. And within a month and a half and some really grueling tests, you know what those are like, those biopsies that you just don't even talk about. People don't talk about what the biopsies look like because they're horrific.
Actually, I have several videos on YouTube about them.
Oh.
And I get thanked a lot. Like, they're 10 years old, and people will watch them and then thank me for sharing the story.
Oh.
Yeah. People want to know. People want to talk about it, which is why I talk about incontinence a lot, too. It is a real thing that women have.
It is. It's true.
Okay.
I never gave birth, so I don't
Sorry.
always have that problem. I don't always.
Sorry, Kim, I interrupted you. So
okay.
You found the lump. You went April Fool's Day.
Yep, and then they shoved big ass 12 gauge needles, which are huge ass needles, they tried to get into the lump in an ultrasound, and that didn't work for them. They couldn't get any sick cells. They got cells, but they didn't get sick cells. And so then they, I'll tell you, I'll be very honest and graphic. So if you have an issue with honest graphic, like, right? They took this big ass needle. And she told me she was going to puncture my lung with it. She said, I will promise you I'm going to puncture your lung. And she tried to shove it between, I didn't even know there were rib bones up here, but there's rib bones up here. And she tried to shove it between the cartilage between my rib bones, trying to get to the mass that was underneath my breastbone. And it was growing very quickly. It was a very quickly growing mass. And so she shoved the needles in. It might have been on this side. She shoved the needle in and tried to get over underneath. And in doing so, she told me she came within 2 millimeters of my aorta and, quote, closer than she liked to get to my pericardial sac, which means she was closer than 2 millimeters to my pericardial sac. And then she told me after she was done, and yes, she did puncture my lung, she was like, if you get this really bad pain in your chest, you need to let me know because you might be deflating. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, I'm having a lot of pain. How do I know the kind of pain you're looking for? And she goes, well, can we get some more fentanyl over here? And then that's when I was like, ooh, fentanyl. I was like, I think I now understand.
Okay, and so then you go through...
And then I go through treatment. I go through 8 weeks of treatment, ABBD, which is the type of chemo it is. Each letter has, each A has a big long name, and V has a big long name, and D has a big long name. But the truth is my body rejected the port.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so that means I had blood clots all up my left arm and into my neck. And so the peripheral veins were popping out because they were the ones being used. And so I had to shoot myself in the belly with the blood thinner every night. And they put the chemo in my veins after dose number 2. So my veins are now poop. They're terrible. I went and I had to have my gallbladder out like last summer. This is actually kind of funny. And they used and then I had an MRI too. And they've used the ultrasound needle guidance in order to get in to find the vein because they can't find the vein without the ultrasound. And it took the guy almost an hour to get the vein for the gallbladder surgery. And then for the MRI, she was in the arm. She was chasing down the vein. She couldn't get it. And they wound up just using a vein in my hand because it was just easier at that point.
I know that this is a business podcast, y'all, but this is important stuff, so we're going to talk about it. I have a very similar story to yours.
Yeah.
I went into the closet to get dressed, and there weren't any clean bras because I kept my bras in the closet for some strange reason.
Oh, no, I understand. They
But
dry.
so I went into the closet. There weren't any clean bras, so I was naked. I was home alone. Well, no, my husband was in his office, but it was. My kid was in school, so I just put my hands. I had one window I had to walk in front of, so I put my hands over my boobs.
Yes.
And I walked to the laundry room to grab the clean bras that I knew were hanging in there drying, and I felt with my thumb something that was the size of an apricot that shouldn't have been there. So, ladies, you need to touch yourselves.
Yes.
Touch your necks, touch your armpits, touch your boobs.
Allow your hands to wander. I know it feels weird because most people are like, you can't touch your something. No, if I hadn't just been like goofing around in my collarbone, I never would have found it. And my body wanted me to find it. I firmly believe that. And the same thing with your body, Kandas. I totally believe that your body wanted you to find it. Mm-hmm. And so I believe your body talks to you, and wandering hands is not a bad thing, and pay attention to the information you get.
That is why I am a fan of Lumi deodorant that comes in the tube, not the roll-on or not the kind that you do this, but the kind that you put on your fingers and you apply it that way. Because then you are touching your armpits, and your armpits, if there's anything there, you need to pay attention to what's going on there.
Agreed.
So.
Yes, yeah, and I don't use Lume because my body is so. I want to be using non-aluminum deodorant with all of my being, and so I'm currently in Hello. I'm currently using Hello deodorant because it actually works, whereas Lume doesn't work for me. I'm too.
Yeah, everybody's different. That's why you have to try different ones.
I've spent thousands of dollars trying to figure this out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've done video reviews on all sorts of deodorants too.
I don't like when I touch it and it's goopy. I don't like my hand. I don't like it. So I actually exfoliate every day. Oh. Every day I exfoliate, and one of the places I exfoliate is my underarms because there's always something left over residual from deodorant just underneath, and I think it's good to get that off every day. And so I exfoliate my underarms every day, and I feel my armpits every day.
So there, if you exfoliate, put on lotion, anything, then if something changes or something is off, you know it is because you felt it the day before.
Right. And you're going to feel, your armpits are a great place to feel things, right? If something's wonky, you're going to feel it in the armpits, because if I hadn't found it in here, the armpits would have been next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's true for breast cancer as well. The lymphoma is in the neck area. That's a thyroid kind of thing, right?
It was in
the whole body.
It was, they did a test, they did a PET scan, and they said if it's below your diaphragm, then we are going to have to do a bone marrow scan. But thankfully, I caught it at level 2B, right? I had it at level 2, whatever that means. But the B meant I was mostly asymptomatic. I had one symptom, and that was I had just lost a lot of weight. But I was on Weight Watchers, and I thought I just kickstarted my metabolism. I thought I was just doing really well.
I want to talk about that. I read an article recently, and if I can't remember where I found it, so I can't link to it, but it was talking about how I love men please don't take it the wrong way. It was talking about how the culture is shifting towards being ultra thin again. And when women think that they're supposed to be super thin, they're not eating enough, so that their brains aren't working as well as they should because they're not getting enough nutrition. And it's a way for the patriarchy, this is what the article said, it's a way for the patriarchy to keep women down because women who are hungry aren't doing their best.
Fascinating.
And you're talking about losing weight when you're on Weight Watchers. I mean, there's a balance between being healthy and being
Agreed.
starving yourself, not having enough nourishment. I don't even know where I want to go with that. So,
But I will say, I mean, I'm now gluten-free and dairy-free and sugar-free.
good for you.
I have never felt so good in my life.
Let's talk about taking something that you love doing and turning it into a business. So
That's what I do.
that's what you do.
That's what I do. I love helping people find their way. I love the encouragement that comes from giving a reading. When somebody comes to me and says, listen, I'm really struggling about this, I might be like, well, you know what? You might be struggling with this, but really what's going on is this, 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 and this. And then they're like, oh. And the whole point of the reading is to uplift and encourage. That's the whole point of it. So if you're in the middle of like the swamp of life, right? You know what I'm talking about. Like the long, dark night of the soul, where you feel like you're in the ass end of a bag and there's no way out. And you're just like, I can't get out of this mess. And somebody comes in and says, no, what is actually going on is like you're you're the caterpillar and you've liquefied so you can become the butterfly. Just hang on. This isn't forever. Again, is it still bad? It's not over yet, right? It's not over yet. This is not the end. And then you've got the hope, and you've given them the hope because they don't have it for themselves, so you're holding the hope for them. I love it. I love it.
So let's talk about how a solopreneur can find joy and abundance in their business. Just, on your podcast, people are going to listen to you and you're going to be able to help them. But they may never find I'll link to it. A link to her podcast is in the show notes. What's the name of it?
Intuitive Insights with Kim Beam.
Intuitive Insights with Kim Beam. There's a link in the show notes. But somebody listening to this show may never get there.
Right.
Okay, so let's guide them down the path of finding joy and abundance in their own business if they never ever meet you. Right.
Okay. So you're standing at the door of your business. Now that is a metaphorical door. It doesn't, close your eyes and just stand at the metaphorical door of your business. And what is the parts of it that you love? What is it that you're giving to the world? What do you absolutely love, and what lights you up, and what makes you stand at this door and know that this is the door that you're opening to the world? And then I want you to also notice the stuff that you actually don't like at all. Because everybody's got it. Everybody's got if I just had somebody who could do blah for me, I would be so much happier. If I could have somebody who would do this thing for me, it's the digital marketing stuff. It's like the reels and the pulling together of the podcast. I just don't have time, energy for that. Like, if you know what it is for you, that is, you're standing in front of the door and you're like, this is my business and I love this, but I don't love this. Then it becomes a question of, how do I find somebody who can do that for me? So that it frees me up so I have even more time to do that which I love. And this is like Kim Beam knowing this, but then this is also like Kim Beam got reinforced this by reading 10x is easier than 2x. Right? If you are able to be in your bliss and you're able to do the stuff you love, the more of what you love you'll be able to do. And so it might take a little bit of a risk and a little bit of a step out in faith to be like, I'm going to find a person to do this for me, right? Because I just don't have the energy or the bandwidth and it's dragging me down. Because the more energy you have for what's good, the more good you will do.
I have a great example.
Yeah.
I was spending hours every week turning my podcast into shorts and reels.
Yes.
And I hate Instagram.
Yes.
And Facebook. I never want to be on those platforms. So I wasn't actually uploading them to any of those platforms. And now you can upload a reel to LinkedIn too.
Yeah.
I never upload. I was just uploading them to YouTube and scheduling them out and doing all the SEO and writing out. And it didn't affect the views on the long form version of the show at all.
Right.
Like in terms of audio versus video consumption of the podcast, it's still 10 times more people are listening to it on Apple and Spotify and Good Pods than
Right.
are watching it on YouTube. I just put it on YouTube because I have the video.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
But I was spending all this time on these reels. And so I stopped.
Yes.
And the number of views on the long form videos on YouTube have not changed. I don't have as many views overall because the shorts were getting some views, but not enough to make a significant difference. Like,
Right.
But now I have all this time.
Yes.
And so I got introduced to a woman who runs a networking group for women who have podcasts. And it has been a fantastic thing for me, right? And this is all very new, but there's collaboration opportunities. People can be on my show. I can be on their show, maybe even promotion by doing ad swaps, things like that. All these things that I wouldn't have done.
Right.
If I hadn't have stopped spending all these hours on something that was just a waste of my time.
Yes. Agreed.
So there's an example of finding the things.
Finding the
Because
things
when
that
you close
really
a door,
don't light you up.
I truly believe, some people say when one door closes, another one opens. I truly believe that when one door closes, 10 doors open, and you get to choose which door you want to go through.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what I believe.
Well, once you had all that open time, you're then like, what am I going to do with this open time? And you could have gone in a number of directions with that open time.
Yeah, and would I have been introduced to this group anyway? Probably. But would I have said yes to the opportunity to join it? Probably not, because I would have felt overwhelmed with the amount of time that I have.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So, okay, I want to talk about some unpopular opinions
Yes.
around the work that you do.
Oh, there's a lot of them. This is so fun for me.
So this show is called Gratitude Geek, and I'm a huge fan of gratitude. But an unpopular opinion is that gratitude alone isn't enough.
I don't know about that. So Esther Hicks, do you know who Esther Hicks is?
Of course I do.
She has those rampages of appreciation, right? And she says that the rampage of appreciation, now for those of you who are listening and you don't know who Esther Hicks is, a rampage of appreciation is when you look around in your room and in your space and you just say, I am so grateful for. I'm so grateful for this plant. I'm so grateful for my phone. I'm so grateful for hot water. I'm so grateful that my book is out. I'm so grateful for this really annoying lip gloss that's sitting right here. I really like it, but there's parts of it I don't like, but I am so grateful that this is here, right? It helps. I'm so grateful that I have the ability to knit. I'm so grateful I made these. I'm so grateful for the colors, right? Rampage of appreciation. I'm so grateful for my clogs. I'm so grateful for this sweater. I'm so grateful that I have a washing machine and a dishwasher. Wow, what great inventions are those? And then you just sit in that rampage of appreciation of all of the things you're so grateful for. I'm so grateful for time at the ocean. I'm so grateful for earbuds. I'm so grateful for books on tape who take me out of my way. I'm so grateful for, and then when you get into that, you get into a higher vibration. You get yourself feeling better, right? Because feeling this good is a higher level than feeling bad. Feeling bad makes you feel low, and feeling good makes you feel bubbly. And so for me, feeling bubbly is a place I want to live. I don't want to feel low. And the more I feel low, the more I'm going to think low. The more I'm going to decide low. The more I'm going to decide scared. I'm going to let fear run the story. And the more bubbly and effervescent I am, the more I'm going to be dreaming. And the more I'm going to be looking for the thing. And so is gratitude enough? It depends on what you're doing with it.
I think the argument here is that being grateful is great, but if you don't take action, nothing will get done.
I'm sorry. If I don't take action, nothing's going to get done. Doesn't matter how grateful I feel or not.
That's true.
It doesn't matter if I'm grateful or not. If I'm going to sit my bum on my couch and I'm not going to get any work done, I'm going to be in the same spot I was 3 weeks ago.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now,
So it doesn't matter
there
whether
is.
gratitude is part of that.
You're a knitter. I'm a crocheter. I call myself a hooker. But Are there times where I just need to sit and make something?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you doing something?
I'm doing something.
You're doing something.
Is it something that is going to produce income for my family? No. But is
No,
it
but it's
something that's going to give me joy and make me feel calm and ease so that when I am done, I can go on and do something that is productive and income producing?
yes.
Yes.
And I am a qualified mindfulness instructor through UMass Medical School. And I would say that sitting down and doing your repetitive action with your crochet hook, right? It is actually a form of mindfulness.
Yeah.
And it's
I
a form
agree.
of meditation. And it's a
It
form
is.
of being calm. And it's a form of like those, I forget, it's like ASMR, EMSR, like those videos where they're
Oh,
cleaning carpets.
ASMR. ASMR.
ASMR, right? Where they're cleaning carpets.
We're doing ASMR right now.
Where they clean carpets, right? I turn off the sound and I watch them clean carpets, and it is for me the most soothing thing to watch those carpets get so clean.
It's the sound of the fan when you. I mean, we can't sleep without a box fan on in the bed. And I never did this before I met my husband, but now I can't sleep without one. Neither can my daughter. I mean, we just are all trained to sleep with the sound of the white noise from the
fan.
box fan. That's
Exactly.
ASMR. But you
Yeah.
know, and so sometimes do I watch a video of a guy mowing lawn? I watch lawn mowing videos.
It's like me with my carpet.
Sometimes I have to.
It's the same thing with the crochet hook. So when I got rid of my TV,
Good for you.
When the ex-boyfriend moved out, he took the TV with him, and I was like, "See you and your TV later." And my dad at that point was like, "Let me buy you a new TV. Let me buy you a new TV." And I was like, "I don't want one. I don't want one." I used to do all my knitting when I was watching TV, and now I don't watch TV. And so I haven't been doing as much knitting. But I recognize that at some point there will be probably a gentleman who moves back into my life, and they will probably be, TV minded. And when we sit and watch TV together, the knitting will come back out in my life.
I listen to books when I crochet.
Yeah. I cook when I'm when I'm listening to books. I listen to books while I'm cooking because I'm in my kitchen. Again, dairy-free, wheat-free, gluten-free. Everything has to be made fresh, right?
Yeah.
Like there's not much I can get away with. And so I spend a lot of time in my kitchen.
I'm sorry about the cat. He hasn't been fed yet, and he just let me know. I saw him about to dump everything on the corner of my desk off the desk, which is why I had to go and get him. So let's see. Can you purr in the? Oh, now that was ASMR.
That was ASMR.
So, okay, we're running out of time, so let's just do one more unpopular opinion or unpopular, opinion.
Yeah.
Manifestation culture can be spiritually bypassing. Constantly thinking positive can suppress real emotions. What do you think of that?
I understand where they're coming from. As somebody who used to stuff emotion, right? So here, I'm also a social worker. So we have lots of phrases in our culture about keep a stick above your lip, mow your own row, or hoe your own row, depending on where you are in your culture. Never let them see you sweat. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Be professional at all times, right?
Do it.
Just do it. We have all of these phrases that are all about keeping your core tight. Don't breathe very highly, because if you do, right, you're going to let emotion in. So there's a lot of people who just hold themselves really stiff, and then they take their emotions and they shove them down into their hips. So this is why when I do yoga, I bawl my eyes out. Because I have taken all of my emotion and I shove it into my hips. And then I do a hip opener and I wind up a little sobbing mess on the floor when I do yoga. It is totally important to feel your emotions. It is important to move your emotions. Emotions are something that come in and they go out. You hold an emotion in your body for a thought emotion because thoughts bring in emotions, right? Negative thoughts bring in negative emotions. Positive thoughts bring in positive emotions. You hold that in your body for about 1 minute and 20 seconds. And then it moves out. You have maybe 1 minute and 80 seconds. You have it in your body for about 2 minutes to 2.5 minutes. And then it's no longer in your body anymore. And is it important to move it out? Yes. Exercise, a lot of things. But acknowledge it and help it move. I am a manifester. I manifested a vast sum of money not by mistake. I did it. I worked on it. It was active work. I did active work to manifest it. I worked really hard to maintain a really high vibration. And I did lots of things in the Esther Hicks books to make that happen. And did I have negative emotions while that was happening? Yeah, I had broken up with my boyfriend, and my dad was super sick. I had a lot, and then he croaked, right? Like, but at the same time, I had negative emotions and said, this is my negative emotion, and I recognize that I'm having it. But I don't have to live in this negative emotion. I have a choice about what I'm going to think about, and I have a choice about how I'm going to feel. And I recognize my negative emotion, and I help it move out, and I also help myself find positive experiences to help it move out.
Let's help those solopreneurs listening to the show right now manifest a crap load of money.
Okay.
What's 2 things they can do today to get themselves in the right mindset to start on the journey? Because I know this doesn't just because you think I have a buttload of money doesn't mean you're going to have a buttload of money tomorrow.
One of the things I did is that was an Esther Hicks thing. It came directly from the book, and that is I had a bank account that I no longer had open, but I had a whole bunch of checks left over, right? So they were all fake. I mean, they weren't fake checks. They were real checks. They were a real checkbook, but it wasn't going to go anywhere. So I started writing actual checks. I had a notebook that I would every day I'd put $1,000 in the bank account. Every day $1,000 just fell into the notebook. Every day I was like, oh, I have another $1,000. So by the end of the month, I had $30,000, right?
I'm kicking myself for throwing away that checkbook. I had a checkbook right here that was for a bank account that we don't have anymore. I am kicking because that is absolute brilliance.
Your body doesn't know the difference. Your body and your brain doesn't know the difference so the other thing you could do is you could take a check from your real checkbook, right? And make a photo or take 3 of them, just put them right in a row, right? And then make a whole bunch of photocopies of them. Your body and your brain don't know the difference. So I started to play this game so well that I would put $1,000 in the bank account and I would wait, and then I would pay $10,000 to pay off, the credit card bill, or I'd wait until I had 10 days and then I'd pay another $10,000 off. But then I was like, wait a minute, let's think about this for a second. Kim, this is all made up. It's all made up to begin with. So the money is in the bank account. Just write the frickin' check. You don't have to wait for the money to come in the bank account because the money's already there. Sit down with your checks and write your checks. And so I sat down and I just started writing checks. I was like, I want to go on a cruise to the Mediterranean. I want a house by the beach, and I paid the $3 million for a house by the beach. And I just had a check and I wrote the checks. The other thing they say to do is to seed your wallet. When I work in the hospital, because I work there per diem sometimes, I go into the hospital, I don't like bringing big amounts of money into the hospital because our offices get broken into and people steal. But when I'm not at the hospital, I like to put $100 or $200 in my wallet. And then I go shopping. And I can buy all of it. I can buy that, and I can buy that, and I can buy that, and I can buy. Don't buy any of it. But your brain doesn't know the difference. It's got money in the wallet. It can pay for it.
The debit card culture that we have now has moved. I need to start doing this again. I used to pay cash for groceries. But we've gotten back into the habit of using the debit card, right?
Right.
But when you pay cash for the groceries, you have the cash.
Yeah.
It keeps you on budget. It's really easy to go over budget. But the other thing is cash feels good.
Right. It does.
I went to
it has a smell to it too.
It does.
When I was in England,
and it's been in circulation. A debit card has never been in circulation. Money has been in circulation. It's touched a lot of abundance.
Exactly. When I was in England, one of the girls was like, I miss the way American money smells. And I thought she was nutters. And then I came home and I was like, oh no, our money definitely has a very distinct odor to it. Mm-hmm. So that also is the smell of abundance.
Yeah. How interesting. So smell those dollar bills.
Yeah. Smell those dollar. And
I love the writing the check thing. If you don't take away anything else but the writing the check thing, go make photocopies of your checks right now and start writing yourself checks.
Yeah, write yourself checks. Jim Carrey, you must know the story.
I know the story, but I want to hear it again.
Story. He decided that he wanted to make $10 million. And so I also hear that he put Monopoly money in his wallet, and he put a whole bunch of zeros after one. It was like he took the biggest bill they had in Monopoly, and he added a whole bunch of zeros and stuck it in his wallet so that that money was in there in his wallet, and he would like put it in with all the dollars so that when he was paying for something, he had a like a $10 million bill in there. But he also wrote himself a check for $10 million, and he put that in his wallet. And it was he wrote himself this check. It was going to come in Thanksgiving for 5 years later. And it was for acting services rendered. And then he got the mask. 5 years later, at that same time period around Thanksgiving, it came in, that check came in, and he got paid $10 million to do the mask.
Patience. And knowing it's going to happen.
Knowing it's going to happen. So I manifested a certain amount of money. Right? And like I said, it's all numbers, right? It's all numbers. So I manifested this large amount of money. And then I was like, you know what? If I can get that, why can't I get 23 million? Right? Why can't I get 23 million? Right? Like that's what I want. I want the 23 million, right? And so that's what I'm working at now. And I've been working at it now for about 5 years. And I realize it might take a little while, but that's the goal, is the 23 million.
Did you put a date on it? Like Thanksgiving of...
No, I didn't put a date on it.
That's the problem. You haven't put a date on it.
Okay, I'll put a date on it.
I mean, I'm just saying.
And
if you don't make the date, that's okay. It's
okay.
going to happen anyway.
5 years from now, Thanksgiving 5 years from now, that's 2030.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
All right. Now you have the date on it. Okay,
I have a date on it.
We need to start wrapping up. Is there anything that you would like the audience to know that we haven't talked about yet?
You want me to come to your house? I'll come give you and your friends readings. I'm a healer. I'm an intuitive. I'm figuring out just as much as anybody else. You know, I don't know that I have any secret sauce. I just keep moving forward. I just stop not quitting, right? If I'm not moving forward, I'm giving up. And so I just keep moving forward. And am I making the right moves? I have no freaking idea, but I'm not going to give up. I'm just not going to give up. And yeah, I'm at kimbeam.com.
And that's the attitude we should all have, is that we're not giving up. Well, you know, hold on. Hold the phone.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this for a little bit.
I'm holding my phone. Why am I holding my phone?
I don't know where I got that expression.
Well, it's because of the 1980s.
Probably. When I was a kid, I don't know if we're the same age. We might not be. But when I was a teenager, we had this like 50-foot cord for our phone.
What you're going to talk about. Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I used to like take it, you know, we had this yellow phone that hung on the wall, and I would take the
too.
phone.
Ours was yellow.
You know, I would dial the phone, and then I would take the phone, the handle of the phone outside, close the door, and walk as far away from the house as I could so I could have private conversations with the cord attached to the phone.
I would take the cord, right? I would have the phone because you were attached to the wall. For all of you people who are young, you have no idea.
You know, this cord is attached to the wall.
You are attached to the wall. I would take it and I would spin and wrap myself up in the cord. And then once I was done spinning in one direction, I would unspin and then spin all the way up the other way.
Oh, no, I was never that close to the phone. I always took it outside as far as... Now, I grew up in California, so I could go outside in December, right? But I would take it as far away from the house as I could so that I could feel like I was in privacy. But, you know, the neighbors probably heard everything I was saying, right?
And then reported back to your mom anyway.
Exactly. There's never any secrecy. Anyway.
Yeah, the whole conversations people have over text now where they don't have to tell anybody what they're typing. These were not, the closest I got was putting it on a piece of white with blue striped paper, folding it up into a little triangle and handing it to somebody when I passed them in the hallway. But then if the teacher found it, he would open it and read it out loud to
everybody. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, okay, hold the phone. We were talking about never quitting, but I do want to address the fact that sometimes what you're doing is not the right thing for you and that you should make pivots.
Pivot is not quitting.
Yeah. Pivoting
Pivot is
isn't
not a
quitting.
quit, right? Where I am right now isn't a pivot. I am in a pivot, but that's because I've honed in and I've found out what lights me up and what is my drive and what is my passion. Before, I was taking coaches' ideas of what is my drive and what is my passion and how do they do it, and then how I should be doing it because this is how they do it, and blah, 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 and then you're all in your head and it's all human blah, blah, blah words, right? I had to come down and sit with my soul and sit with my purpose and sit with why am I on this planet. And once I did that, I'm now like, I'm giving readings. This is what I'm doing. None of this other nonsense. And I'm giving Zoom room readings too. I do it on Zoom. People can hop into my Zoom room and listen, and I will be happy to give you a reading.
And all those links will be in the show notes.
KimBeam.com.
Okay, excellent. So I told you before we started recording that earlier today I had gone to a bio workshop, a workshop on writing our bio, and that I was having the hardest time. I told you this, but I'm going to share it with the audience. I was having the hardest time writing my bio because I couldn't make the pieces fit together. And then I started to tell the people in the workshop what I was passionate about. And I mean, I just started spewing all this passion, right? About how I believe that women can change the world, and the way that women are going to change the world is by business ownership. The more women who own businesses, the better and better the world is going to be. And that's my belief. My core belief is that women can change the world through business ownership. And if I hadn't have gone to that training, I wouldn't have, and gotten that passionate while I was frustrated, and gone past the frustration, I wouldn't have come to that realization that that is truly what my mission is, right? That's truly why I do the things I do. That is why I became a business coach after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. That is why I have this podcast. That is why I talk to interesting people. Sometimes I talk to people that I never imagined I'd ever even meet. And the opportunities have been enormous. People say yes to being a guest on my show that I never imagined 10 years ago that I could ever possibly meet, right?
Right.
And all of that is because my mission is to help women become business owners.
Right.
Right. So that is, I don't even know why I'm on this rant. Somebody needed to hear that message.
We all need to hear it, right? We all need to hear it. And don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to speak your passion. Don't be afraid to be true to who you are. Basically the message is don't be afraid.
Yeah. And I think my point there was that I was frustrated because I didn't know where I was going until I got into a room with a bunch of other people who needed to hear, who helped me say what I needed to say.
Right.
Right. So ask for help too.
Oh yeah. Ask for help. Come find me. I'll give you answers.
Yeah. Excellent. 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 I love full circle. All right. We have been talking about joy and abundance in your solopreneur business. Women business owners, you have heard my mission. If you are on board, you know what to do. All right.
All right.
So, Kim Beam, this is your moment of gratitude. For whom or what are you most grateful?
Well, I'm grateful for this time here with you today. I feel like we really resonated with each other and that we are like kindred spirits, and that makes me really happy when I find other kindred spirits in the world. It just makes me really happy.
I like it when I meet someone I can drop the F-bomb with.
Yes, exactly. Sorry for the F-bombs. The thing is, I was like, might not believe this, but I was like a hardcore Christian for a very long time. And so I didn't swear at all when that was happening in my life. Like for, I don't know, 20 years, I never swore or tried really hard not to. And now I'm just like, I'm embracing all of who I am. I'm embracing all of the imperfect and the perfect, right? And so I'm grateful that I'm going to be writing another book, and I'm grateful for my experience of being able to tap in for people when they can't hear for themselves and they're feeling lost. I feel like that's an honor, and I don't take it lightly.
Thanks for tuning in to Gratitude Geek, the podcast for grateful micropreneurs building genuine, lasting relationships with clients, colleagues, and community. Our theme music is by Rev Brock and Soul Lily, and it's a darn good tune. A huge thank you to our guest, Kim Beam. You can find her links in the show notes at gratitudegeek.com. This is episode 268. I've been your host, Kandas Rodarte. Stay groovy, my friends.
Stay groovy!